Language. What is language? It is about conveying information. There's a standard manner that we go about it, such as we learn in school. But people are very clever. So sometimes they figure out how to include much more content into the language than what is readily apparent. Why would they want to do that, you may ask? Well, maybe they would want to do that so that the recipient will only take in the message subliminally. Maybe they would want to do that because to do it the regular way would be too horrible for the receiver to comprehend all at once. This video is about learning to pick out any additional or hidden meaning that may be included in the communication. With this knowledge, you will be more able to figure out what is really going on. Specifically, the not-so-nice things. To do this, you need to analyze the language further than you normally would. You need to learn how to break the language down into its parts and to read between the lines, so to speak. You need to look for all of the different ways someone could convey more substance into the language than normal. I'm going to give you some examples of this, starting with one of the smallest denominators of the English language, the syllable. Instead of using the syllables to only sound words out, take each sound literally by itself. Also, think about the syllables as abbreviations to new words, or to derive other words from just their beginning sounds, like that. Envision other ways the word can be divided down to reveal disparate substance. Any way that you can think of to hide other meaning or add extra content is what it takes sometimes to uncover all of the information that may be available. It is not always present, nor probably normally present, but many times is, especially in the realm of the negative or the adverse. Here are some examples. Evil becomes Eve, ill. Demon translates to deem in, deem un, like maybe undead, or deem on. Therefore, demonic becomes deem on ick. Satan. Break those up. Break that one up into sate plus in. Well, the word sate means full, or possibly even overfull. Also, it's derived sometimes from the word sit. So how about all together? Sit in overfull for Satan. Satan worship is many times related to the word Saturn, the planet, which becomes Saturn. Also, Saturnian becomes Saturn-E-N. Think about E. Think about what E can mean in today's language, as in email. Saturnalia, from the same root word. Imagine what you can get out of this beauty. How about Saturnalia? Or more contemporarily, Saturnalia. Alien becomes ale, the same as our previous example, which means pain or affliction. E for electronic, like we previously looked at, and in, like inside. That's alien. You can also use combinations of syllables to make things, or any combination of syllables or parts of the words, etc. Really, anything that you can think of. So, interdimensional becomes interdimensional, or interdimensional. Supernatural equates to super plus natural. Well, super means more of, or extra, or in addition to. Paranormal becomes paranormal. Here's a small sampling of some of the most used word fragments I have run across. There's many, many more. Ick, like, icky, you know what that is. Shun. cull, bay, sigh, ill, ray, tour, in, ore, like maybe sulfur ore, air. Oh, I believe this sometimes denotes like a sore or possibly a lesion. Is, dir, like you don't know what's going on. And I've seen derivatives of that one too, like or whatever, you know. Fur, owl, possibly in reference to a controversial subject today, a condition called Morgellons disease, or Morgellons, however you want to say it. And lastly, E, electronic, we discussed that. This is done in movies, many times, movie titles, especially alien movies or paranormal or horror movies, that type of genre, all over the place. Also in video games and video game titles, music, book titles, radio programs, drug names, possibly even in drug names. What is your drug name? Do you have allergies? If you expand this idea to include whole words, sentences, paragraphs, and more, these can become code to whole other meanings. Sometimes nothing is needed at all, Bigfoot. Here's some more. Lucifer. What do you think that is? How about Illuminati? Also along the same lines, horrific. How about that one? Are some people being herded into the adult entertainment industry and related without knowledge of what's really going on? I wonder. How about these? Infernal, diabolic, diabolical, spiritual sometimes even, unbelievably. How about the recent alien movie called Prometheus? Well, note the drug name inside and see my first video about what crystal-based drugs and electronics could possibly have in common with each other. Here's another one. The Exorcist. Write that one down. Okay? Now we're going to get really provocative. How about Roswell? How about Rendlesham Forest? Look up the word Ren for a clue to that one. How about Bent Waters? Maybe like arthritis and RF energy. How about that? There's a 1979 rock musical. It just happens to be about Jesus, but the name of it is Hair. And inside of this movie, in the soundtrack, one of the songs is called Aquarius. Remember that old song? This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Think of the two together. That is what's really going on. Don't think so? Think again. Try this one. Psychological. Let that one sink in. This is just scratching the surface, people. How many examples can you find?